everybody. And I'll put some music in. Good morning, Brent. I don't know, I like hip hop. So I've noticed a couple of things. First of all, I that head of cold has of course gotten worse. No, I'm sluggish and weird and whatever. That's all right. We're getting there. So I am not 100% sure I'm ready to go to the next stage on this. I don't know. Let's see. This is where we were. And this is where we are. I feel like, though, my boat needs to be maybe even hold back further. Back to here. And get this to there. Yeah, I wanted to be early too. I know that was a typo, but it's not inaccurate. All right, we're going to. Crossbar. Right? Anything in here I can use? Not really. Really, all of these things just get me something close. That's what we're looking for, is something close. Why is it? You guys do need to. All right. So yeah, I don't know. I may stay here, and then I may bug out early and go back to bed. I'll just see. I feel like maybe these guys are close. Hi, Boomer. How you doing? You must be doing better than me. Well, I mean, I say that. I really just old. That's all. Yeah, right. Hey, as long as you're getting the right feel, we're doing the right thing. And as long as you're drinking hires, I'm intrigued that my camera is not working. But my camera is working, which makes no sense. It doesn't help any that I just got out of the shower, which makes my nose run even more. So we're extra gross. Everything's just extra gross. Yeah, oh man. There's nasty bugs going around. And we've been in quarantine for so long that a lot of us don't have our normal built-in immunities to all these things now. Oh, music. It always defaults to 50 for reasons, and there's no good reason. Thanks for catching that. What I think really happens is that my voice is lower and the ambient is supposed to be higher. So you guys all are turning up your volume to hear, and all of us guys have the, you're welcome, have the volume turned much lower. Looks fine. And back here. This. Yeah, see, I feel like it's not. Not helping any. No, probably because typical everything gets shuffled or whatever. You built a one-person twin prop plane. That's cool. I mean, I'd sound more enthusiastic, but I have a head cold, and nothing's enthusiastic. Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Not 100% sure why my camera is not on right now, although my camera is on. I don't know. But yesterday I spent a lot of time fussing with things, so I'm kind of over fussing stuff with stuff, so there's that. Yeah, I'm in stealth mode today. Yeah, I figure it's only a matter of time before somebody whines about that, but that's all right. I'm not pushed at this point. I am sure somebody will complain about the naked mechas at some point in time. It is one of the absolute sureties in the world. It cracks me up because, of course, I just use the maquettes like pretty much straight out of the box just for a rough idea, and I put a characterization later. And once I do, they're bloody bullets, so the characters aren't actually naked, just the maquettes. But you know, think of the children. There's naked butts out there. Yeah. You know, corrupt all those children by having naked butts. What do you think of that? It does, doesn't it? Kind of looks like let's complain about something. The scene sort of reads strange too, I noticed. I was actually kind of looking at the scene and going, well, like in the book, it's like, well, it's kind of strange, but I guess that makes some sense to some degree. But yeah, like all the townspeople are gathered here at the harbor, and they were doing their normal thing. Then this girl pulls out a gun, and like everybody's already freaked out about that. Then the Kraken comes out of the water in the harbor, knocks over a boat, you know. So we definitely gonna have to do something about some of this. Right. The giant monster is just part of this plot. Now, like I said, I write for pulp, or I draw for pulp people, and pulp is full of pulp. Although her stories are, interestingly, they sort of sit in a base that's pulp, but in the end, it wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? Like, nah, that doesn't sound right because it wasn't bad to begin with. Like I said, I shouldn't be qualified to talk right now. I'm sick. Boy, I gotta tell you, having a head cold makes. Oh, your last post didn't comment, or your last comment didn't post. That is weird. Anyway, I liked her stories. It's not to say there's anything wrong with pulp or anything like that, because there really isn't. But you know, pulp can sometimes be tropey. If you're depending on the pulp artist, and in some instances, pulp is even celebrated when it's tropey by the nature. Yep, similar mental issues by the nature of the beast. Yeah, all those mental issues you and I have. I like the fact that the ship's bridge is a fire alarm. I find that funny. Uma, did your last post get eaten by whatever? Ooh, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It's interesting. I keep thinking about how the internet is. Like, I know that Booma is Booma. That's the person who was always Booma at the conventions and da. And so, as long as Booma doesn't mind, I'm going to keep calling him Booma. But it's a thing where sometimes, then on the flip side, there's Can. who goes by Can, not because we call him Can when we're in real life and talking to him in everyday parlance, but because he has asked for us to do that because he's known as Can all over the interwebs. And so he wants to continue the brand, and that makes sense. And then Pepper is Pepper, and I am Guy, but on the Guy thing, you have to know that I'm G.S. Davis because I can't go by Guy. There's already a Guy Davis comic artist out there. He's eminently more successful than me. So that's amore. That one posted. Yup. But on the flip side, I actually really do not want to be necessarily referred to on the interwebs as Guy, because I won't ever know, or as GS, because I will never know you're talking to me. GS, how are you? You know, I'd be like, what? Good morning, Patsy. My camera is being a butt, so I'm not actually like able to turn my camera on. I don't know what to do about it. I don't care, because I have a head cold and I'm grumpy and stuff. So there. So, but I think it's interesting just thinking about that, because on the same token, I met Patsy in the early days of the interwebs when we all had nicknames too. And over the years, I've forgotten Patsy's nickname, rightfully so. There's history behind it, but it doesn't matter. The important thing is it's fascinating that I still call Booma by Booma's name, but Patsy, I call it Patsy because it's Patsy. And Bob, I call Bob because Bob's Bob. And that's interesting. I just find these things interesting. And then we call Brian Can because he wants to brand. And so, and that, oh man, Pepper had the worst time with that, because Pepper met him and knows him as Brian in the real world. And I still from time to time forget and call him Brian. I mean, because it's not a top secret name or anything like that. It's not like no one needs to know that his name is Brian. It's just that nobody knows him as Brian. He's known by his moniker on the internet. Right? And so and like Patsy still remembers Ab when I was doing the Ab stuff, which I loved Ab. Ab always ended up at the top of every list. That was the bestest name ever. Right? But see, the thing about Ab was that was my game moniker, and it still is. If I'm ever in the gaming universe, you can still find me as Abnormal. So it's AABH normal. Right? Which is that same joke as Abby Normal from Young Frankenstein, of course. Although that's not where I took it from. I was making that pun in high school. Boom is a great radio call sign. You were on call. You were on it. Doggone it. Oh, good. My mom's best friend. From time to time, I will have dinner with her. Just make sure she's still connected, because she's a fun individual on top of being my mom's best friend, which kind of makes it like the last connection really with my mom in a lot of ways. But also, she's the only friend that mom had that I was very close to. No, not to say I wasn't close to mom's other friends, just you know how it is when you're your mom's buddies. You're like, yeah. Most people do. Um, so here's the story of Ab. Where did Ab come from? Um, Booma is an anime nickname. Where did Ab come from? So the story starts back in high school when I was, and I'm going to take a break here because all I'm doing is draining up here, which is a little hard to do while leaning over the thing. In high school, we were creating role-playing game characters, and I didn't start cross-playing until high school. And in junior high, I was playing male characters, and I couldn't think up any names for the characters. So my first characters were like, Lance Corman, because I think I had heard that name somewhere. And actually, Lance Corman was Roger Corman's brother, because Roger Corman was named after the movie director, and I didn't even know who that really was at the time. Just liked his name. So my first character was Roger Corman. My second character was his brother Lance, because of course, as all of our first characters do, the first character lives like 3 games and then gets killed because the GM doesn't know to not fudge the dice. So, the bad guy shoots at you. Oh, that was a lucky hit. And let's see what damage it does. Ooh, yeah, it hit the nuclear reactor. I'm sorry. There's... Okay. No problem. So, after I got to high school, I had started naming them Ab, and the Abs were every time, because people kept killing my characters in those early days. So it was Ab, and then it was Absent, and then Abrent, and then Abnormal, and then because they just kept killing the character, and I was like, so I'd make a new character and I just changed the last name. So it'd be Absent, and then Abrent, and then Abnormal, and then all these names that came out. Then in high school, I started cross-playing, which is where you play as the opposite gender all the time. And I was playing female characters at that point. And those were a lot easier to come up with cool names for. And so that's actually where the prototype for Chang comes from, is one of those early characters back in the day. And so I retired my abs. Anyway, because totally the number of jokes that I could make off of AABH calling it ab was so freaking funny. If every time I'd make a new character, people would ask me what I'm doing, I said, "Oh, I'm working on my abs." It just, all of them were so funny. It was just a series of awesome jokes. So so they were the best. Well, when I started GMing, then I would use the abs as my Deus Ex Machinas. Generally, when the games would get to the point where the characters would try to kill each other off, I would bring in an ab, which would be like God Power ab or whatever, to break it up so that it'd still be in story, because we didn't know about metagaming at the time, and we didn't understand, because this is 1987, 1988, role-playing was still new. It's not like you could just watch a TV show with role-playing on it. So we didn't know. So I didn't want to metagame and just say, hey, you two, stop trying to kill each other. And I had one friend who was perpetually into PKing. That was his thing. He really liked to get into the game, cause chaos, and try to kill the other characters. And we didn't know what to do with him at the time. And back then, you'd find 5 people. If you could find 5 people who'd role play, that was an amazing thing, you know. So anyway, so along came video games and network gaming, and that was about the time, you know, in the early 90s, mid 90s, we started network gaming, and I needed a nickname for myself because sometimes we'd be on the internet, and we had heard back then, kids on the internet, you don't want to be a kid on the internet because apparently the government would bring a white man and hijack you. I don't know. There were stories, and it didn't make sense. So we all picked nicknames, and Abnormal became my nickname. And then whenever I went onto the forums, I just continued that on. So it just became Ab. Because then I discovered that no matter what, I'd be in position number 1 on every list. Because AAB is alphabetically before everything else. So there's the story of the name Ab. And Ab lived up until, I mean, like that nickname I still use that nickname when I game. That's still my game moniker. So you'll still find me on Steam as Abnormal. But that's where it comes from. This long history of that name that goes all the way back to role-playing in the 1980s. And I still have those Ab character sheets somewhere. But I mean, it was all because, and that's why everybody always thinks that it's Ab, and I'm like, it's not, but that's only because, yeah, you know, 16 or 17, my English skills were, my English was really actually very excellent, but my knowledge of other languages was non-existent. So I didn't understand what it's like to try to read things that weren't standard. And the thing that really cracks me up is when people call it Ahab, A-H-A-B. And I'm like, okay, hey, hey, who knows? Maybe I'm after whales and I didn't know it. I don't know. So anyway, that's the history of the name Ab, and why you will still see Ab from time to time out there on the interwebs. So, but Patsy, you're not alone. Many people have thought that it was Ob. Oh, the other part of this is that my buddy Aaron was part of the reason why it's got 2 A's and not 1, because his name is Aaron, of course, like Aaron is spelled, and I always thought that was the silliest thing. Why the 2 A's in Aaron? And of course, it's biblical. That's part of the reason why. But it was still very funny to me, and I thought it was particularly humorous. So I added 2 A's to Ab instead of just 1. I always wonder things though, like, did my mom know that moniker? You know, these things, like, I always wonder these things about just randomly. Right? Jera? Dean's old handle. Yeah, and Crow, Patsy's referring to Crow. Crow was Mariah's handle. She doesn't even go by that handle anymore. She uses a different handle now when she's gaming. Because she just picked a name, and it was like It didn't make any sense. The thing was really interesting, though, is that on the Poser forum, which was where I met Patsy back in the day, not Poser forum, but its spin-off. On the Poser forum, I used my foxtail logo, the same logo I still use today for my comics. And so on the Poser forum, I was using my foxtail logo for that. And many people thought it was a cat. So at some point in time, I just got referred to as a cat. And I rolled with it. I was like, okay, whatever. Because there was this trend for a while to identify people by their avatars. And that actually became kind of fun, because then I did a whole bunch of MST3K. I don't think her name came from MST3K. I think she meant the bird. Although, I'll ask. I mean, because I'm married to her. Right? It's not hard to find that information. You need to ask her. All right. This is the background. Anyway, thank you for... I know it sounds weird, but since I've got a head cold and I'm not feeling good, and I didn't sleep well last night, because I never sleep well when I have a head cold. I barely sleep well when I don't have a head cold. But since that's happening, I'm sluggish and weird this morning. So yeah, I don't know whether that's part of it or not. It might be. It could be. It could very well be. So, it just feels like we're not in the right angle. It really does. Yeah, I know. But it's still... I feel like this isn't the right angle, the correct angle for this shot. Anyway, so that's the when I was in high school, one of the other things I did was work on cars with Aaron, and Aaron was and still is a big car guy. He loves cars. So much so, he pretty much just has a huge garage with a small apartment stuck to it. Anyway, Aaron and I, when we were working on cars, I used to make the joke of AA, beep, beep, RON. Because that was a funny joke. Because there used to be Amco, was a company in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, and that was their little commercial jingle. AA, beep, beep, MCO. And I was like, yeah. So anyway, that's where the AA came from for AB. But it was supposed to be that whole takeoff on the Abby Normal thing. Aaron is an ancient name, yeah. And, my buddy Aaron's pretty much been ancient from the get-go too, so that works. He was the most 90-year-old, 10-year-old I knew. Not really one to believe in the old soul thing, but gotta admit, there ever was an old soul. All right. I'm not happy with this angle at all. The angle is not making me ecstatic. There are a lot of people on this scene. I do know that I want to blue line in this front. Yeah, I find it. The thing that was really funny was that, yeah, the angle's not going to work. Unless I bring these guys up. Like to here. It's the only way this is going to work. The angle's there. Why do you keep tearing up the chair? Stop it, you pest. You got 75,000 scratching posts, and you got to come in here and tear up chairs. Power. I mean, quite literally, it's power. Because when you have an angle looking up at somebody, yeah, because he's George. When you have an angle looking up at somebody like this, you're giving them the power angle. And so all of this is about the power angle. So I've got her at the power angle because she's got the gun. And our hero of the story is this guy right here. He's the hero. Yeah, she's got a gun. We'll draw it in. It's a blaster, so I didn't actually model it or anything like that because I'll just mess with it. I'll hand draw it. It's small enough. It's not that big a deal. Okay. So we have our bruiser. You're on the wrong there. You know you're on the wrong there. And you know what that means, guys. Luckily, there wasn't anything there. All right, back to work. So we're mostly using the maquettes for just basic blocking because we got a lot of characterization that comes in later. And I remember our bruisers got a torn shirt. And she's wearing a jumpsuit, so we're gonna put in all the wrinkles of that jumpsuit. Alright. So we'll go ahead and do this, and then come around the cuff of her suit like so. Well, she just took the gun from him. So he's chagrined. Not chagrined. So the scene plays like this. He's holding the gun on her. The Kraken appears in the bay and goes, sploosh, rah! Everybody turns to look in the bay. She takes advantage, pops the gun out of his hand, and then points the gun at all of them. Then our main character turns around, looks at her, and goes, really? And he's got a little amulet that pretty much is the Deus Ex Machina. So as soon as he touches the amulet, she's like, yeah, I'm never going to get anywhere with this. So she just puts the gun back in her holster. Ron has requested that I capture that second there, where she's pulled the gun on everybody, and it's just a second between pulling the gun, then realizing there's nothing she can do. It won't matter because he's got that amulet that'll protect him anyway. So she puts the gun back in her holster. It's only a second, but that's the snapshot he wants me to capture in the book. So what I got to do is capture that second here. So we got him looking like, oh crap, you took my gun. And then it won't matter at that point. Which wasn't his gun to begin with, it was her gun. Plus she has a holster. Yeah, so that's the moment we're capturing here. And I don't mind. You know, in this instance, I'm just going to go out. Morning, Donald. Oh, that sounds good. My day's going, I mean, okay. I have a head cold. Nothing big. But I'm not joining you because I have a head cold and you don't need it. So. This. That. Okay. Oh, that's cool. But um, what I should do, make sure we have a set holster on here. Give it a little bit of a interesting look to it. Make sure that the strap is pulling in, because she will hold that tight so that it won't be loose. And keep going here and move it down. Meanwhile, I may or may not be eating a candy cane. You won't know because the screen doesn't work. The camera's not working. So there's absolutely no proof that I'm eating a candy cane. Right? What candy cane? I saw no candy cane. Nobody here has any proof? So, Bob, I don't know what's going on. The camera works in night mode, but not in day mode. And the night mode only works in day mode. So I'm not sure what's going on. That sounds awesome, actually, Donald. Being sick thing is not fun, people. Whoever tells you that is just wrong. Just saying. It's not fun. I want a refund. This is just a head cold. I don't have COVID or anything like that. I'm not good looking. Nah. Good news is that I can always take this and just do that. Won't matter. Slightly longer legs. All right. You can kind of see where we're going in this. Although funny, because she's not actually aiming at the bruiser, she's aiming at Alita, which is the way she's supposed to be aiming. Because that's the... That's right. All right. Just need to remember that his shirt is torn. And something I had set up but didn't actually show up was the ship captain's hand on his shoulder. As in, you know, don't do it. He's an old croggy sea horse too. Now I'm putting that like old captain's hat on. He's that old sea dog that has the wrinkled leather eyes, you know. So we're gonna bring him in. Old sea dog. He's actually wearing his peacoat at this point in time, so I'll put that on in here too. He's trying to get his old buddy here. Alita, I don't know how it's pronounced. I pronounce it Alita, but you know, I'm known for these things. Alita makes some sense to me always. I don't know why. Weird. All right. Right? I'm just saying. If you really had Alita here, it wouldn't really be a threat, and the Kraken wouldn't be. Although this Alita is not any slouch either. I'll have to go check in on how her character looks and bring her back in. Yeah. All generations, they move on. I was just reading an article about that today, talking about, of all things, homosexuality and how it's changed over the years, and how people are starting to get a better idea of what percentage of our population is homosexual. And of course, in Russia, 0% of the population is homosexual, which has nothing to do with 0% of the population being homosexual, just 0% of the population accepted homosexuality. And here, it is definitely not 0% of the population. And somebody was saying, I feel like more people are homosexual today than ever before, kind of complaining, whatever. And kind of the argument was that, something like they're, pretending that they're, or something, I don't know. And of course, the argument was that it's just that people were not comfortable before. And Gen X was pretty much the first generation of which we could talk about it openly. And then real quick. I don't know. Same thing with trans. Um, they think that up to a a third of us are gender fluid in one way or another, which pans out. I feel like a lot of my friends are, not one, not very specifically a gender or whatever. I feel like that's a. I feel like Alex has it right, my buddy Alex. Man, Paul Lind. I just recently found out, like, he died in the 80s just by himself and alone, and it was so depressing. It was like, he didn't deserve that. Such a good comedian. He was so freaking funny. All churches still grant asylum if they're ordered to give up to charges by law. Yeah. My buddy Alex theorizes that we are a percentage. All of us. Like, nobody is 50-50 male, female. Nobody's 100% male. Nobody's 100% female. You're like varying degrees. Everybody is. And I think that's actually probably accurate as well. You may be 90, 95.5 as your, but I don't think anybody is. And as soon as he said that, I was like, well, I guess it makes some sense. I mean, legitimately, we always used to make jokes that Prince would steal your girlfriend and your boyfriend, and you'd be fine with that. Yeah, I think we're probably more of a spectrum than we think. I'm wondering if Donald's talking about Notre Dame. Yep. Asylum is another one of those things that irritates me. Not because of anything else, other than churches grant you asylum provided you believe in their dogma. So you have to be willing to. Why is North Dakota calling? Interesting. I mean, my feeling is that if you are, that was, by the way, the kiddo's school calling to say, we'll be having a meeting today if you want to join us. Okay. But I had to answer it in case it was, where is your child? So, Donald, there is an entire thing called tort law, which we kind of follow in a way. But we can talk about it later when you show up. I'm all about that. Right? I don't know where it is. So, talk to you later, my friend. Everyone knows it's windy. Do. Yeah. I don't know if I call this a bodice ripper, so let's not put it on the center. Ha! I thought that was funny. What is that you're drawing there, guy? It is an orrery. Looks like a piece of driftwood, guy. Yeah. I just like the name Bodice Ripper, by the way. I just think that's like the coolest name that has ever cooled. Just saying. Yeah, I guess I get into weird things. Who knew, huh? All right. Yeah, probably. Bodice rippers are a category of books. It's that Harlequin romance sort of genre whereby, you know, it's the Victorian era or Tudor era. But needless to say, somewhere along the line, the woman's bodice gets ripped by the manly man. Yeah, I did too. Yeah, hot and steamy historical novels. Or hysterical novels, if you really want to just say that. Also true. I don't know. It's funny how much of our history is kind of tied to um, misunderstanding people. Right? Totally. All right. Now, we're getting much closer to at least all the characters are here. All the characters are coming into line at least. Man, right? We're missing the Kraken. Man, it is hard to stay with it. Oxygen deprivation. It honestly kind of feels a little like oxygen deprivation. Just saying. Not gonna lie. All right. At least he got his boots back. A big bruiser. What are the details on these boots? We don't know. We'll get there. A big deal. We'll detail in all of these things later. But for right now, put these boots and stuff on. I have received 100 messages today with Restream chat. That's what matters. Which you guys don't see, because you don't have the chat function out there on that side. I am looking at the time, Jerry. Looking at the time. Actually not, but that's hard. It's not as funny. That's all right. I may or may not be rolling to an end here. I feel like this is pretty solid, or at least a good solid start. Well, that's what I'm thinking is if I get to the end of this, I may not want to. I may not want to continue on for right now. I may want to go back to bed, which might be a thing because I think I've done good for the day. I feel like I have done my bit. We've got to go through and adjust. Now that we have a blue line in, we have a couple of things we're going to need to do at this point, which is that we're going to have to, first of all, adjust all the characters so that they actually make sense, so that they look like they're wearing the correct outfits and make sure that they're doing all the correct things and stuff like that. And the second thing we're going to want to do is straighten up the blue line to make sure all the lines are very clear and straightforward and everything like that. I don't think I have it in me to do that at the moment. So, yeah, I'm sick. Go back to the sketch. Ew, it's horrible. What's this person doing here? But yeah, are we doing the full size thing over here again? It's done that before. I don't know what that's about. Why full size? There, that's the size. Anyway, so I may bug 30 minutes early. I know Jerry just got here. Sorry, Jerry. But yeah, I got a head cold, and I'm over the head cold already. I've only had it for like a day. It's like you can't fully enjoy the head cold if you don't actually sit here for a couple of days and stew in the head cold. Um, so anyway, my eyes are puffy and stuff, but I've saved this, so we've done our bit for today. I feel like this is a pretty good start. Dayquil, maybe. It depends. It depends on whether Troy wants to get together. He's up here in this part of town. He wants to get together, and I'm like, I have to see whether he's up for it. So, but I mean, I feel like I've done good work for today. I can let it lie and be fine. We're gonna have to make all the characters fit here in a second, but yeah, but that'll be tomorrow's job, I think. So anyway, or tonight's job if I'm not crashed out early. We'll see. Anyway, so I'm gonna call it early. Sorry, Jerry. Oh, I don't have COVID. We've tested this morning already, so it's just a head cold. Just the normal, everyday head cold. Actually, knock on wood, I haven't gotten COVID yet, so somehow managed to avoid that. I don't know how, but I have managed to avoid COVID. So watch this actually be COVID, and it just didn't show up on the test, but that's all right because I just taunted it. Kai's teachers are still putting in the results. Okay, so I'm gonna get going, and I will talk to you guys later. And as always, keep your eyes on the stars. I may or may not be here tonight, just so you know. I may crash. We'll see. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can't sleep at all, so might as well just do the work. So good night and good day, and however it goes, and I'll see you later.